I have with me David Pakman. He is a progressive host and executive producer of the nationally syndicated radio and TV program, The David Pakman Show. And I wanted to talk to David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman, he is a beta male. The beta male.
Can you remind the audience, when you talk about being a beta male and being an alpha male, what are we talking about here?
There are males, most men today, male, they think and act like a woman. They're emotional, they are mentally off, they have no logic. And that's a beta male. They go along with homosexuality.
Hold on, whoa, Jesse, we got it. That's a lot.
LGBTQ.
That's a lot. Hold on.
They agree with everything that's raw. Abortion, they think and act just like a woman. A beta male does. But a non-beta male doesn't, because he's a logical thinking. And they're controlled by the darkness of David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. Beta male. He is a beta male. The beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David, you're not here to communicate. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm going to let you go. It's a waste of time to talk to you. We're not communicating. You're acting like an idiot.
Because you're asking bizarre questions.
You're acting like an idiot, and you're wasting my time. I appreciate you coming. All right, thank you for coming. Goodbye. Goodbye. That's a progressive vote. All men who are progressive, or males who are progressive, are weak people. They are weak people, and why have these people on? It doesn't even make sense. They don't come to communicate.
All right, welcome everybody. What a day. We are live and now by popular demand in 60 frames per second, if you can believe it. So we have a huge event today. Joe Biden is going to Philadelphia, the center of, I don't even know what. He's going to Philadelphia, a city in the United States, where he is going to, I believe, unload on Republican voter suppression. And why are we covering this? That's a really great question. The reason we're covering this is because you told me this is one of your most important issues. We actually polled the YouTube audience. Look at these numbers. I got a call from my orthopedist today. He said he'd never seen numbers like this. Which campaign promise should Biden prioritize? 107. Whoa, what is wrong with my hair? 107,000 of you voted. You know, John McLaughlin, he gets 1,500 people to vote in his polls. 107,000 votes, and 45 of you, meaning roughly 45,000 of you, said Voting Rights Act, voting rights, voting rights, voting rights. And so that's why we are here and standing by for Joseph R. Biden Jr., yes, the president, by the way, to talk about exactly that issue. All right, so we're standing by, and I think it's going to be a really, really strong speech. And we just have so much to talk about today. Where to even start? Well, just so I don't fall behind. Life is Good, Kay Gouldy, The Old Tired Road, as well as Unforgiven 2, have just signed up via Twitch Prime, putting us at 4. We will open phone lines today. Heretofore unannounced, we will open phone lines today if we get to 100 website members. Slingblade has just signed up, number 5. And also, from the perspective of my website, Thaddeus Schnuel has just become a new website member with the coupon code SADTRUMP. Thaddeus Schnuel, new member number 6 today. Just stunning stuff. So what do we have to go over today? I have clips of mask and COVID related breakdowns. I have super chats. I have voicemails. I have conspiracy theories. Oh, and I have unban requests as well, but let me wait on those. I have a super chat from Pepe Xanadu who says, why does skin color still matter today? You would need to elaborate a little bit. I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but I would need you to elaborate a little bit. Also, thank you to Lurdon for the Twitch Prime subscription. Very much appreciate that. Let's get right into a couple of voicemails. We are now, as many of you remember, we went on vacation on June 25th, and we've been working through the voicemails. We're up to July 1st, if you can imagine. Today's July 13th, and we're only up to July 1st on voicemails. Let's just keep going a little bit, okay?
Hey, David, it's Ryan. I was calling, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of these medical segments with, nurses or doctors with all these crazy conspiracy theories and Trump views. And on your episode today, you'd said, hey, we thought we had seen it all. But none of this has surprised me at all. I was actually the operations manager for a group of 4 medical clinics. And this is what the pandemic has really been showing us, is just how much the Trump era has radicalized people, not based on education alone, but really just if they were on the right, the Trump era just pushed them so far to the right. And
well said. Very well said. Okay, a nice voicemail. Here's another one.
I was just looking at some of the devastation in India.
Now, I know many of you will say, oh, this girl again. I'm just going in order. This is what I promised you to prove I'm not handpicking.
Like India, women are being degraded and turned into sex trafficking workers. They're sold for $90 to these men who beat them and stuff like that. I don't hear too much from Tulsi on relations with India and
Tulsi, what on earth is going on here? Okay, let's keep going.
Hi, David. I'd like to lay this outdoor mask issue to rest. I'm a paragon of trail etiquette here at the state park, local state park. I do a lot of trail riding here in our state park, and I'll tell you, I'm widely recognized here. I do a lot of trail riding. And I'll tell you, I keep a mask on my person. I wear it around. There's a 55 and older community
Okay, all right. He's wearing a mask. Okay.
So it worries me that I feel like nobody really cares about the slaves or slavery in general. I mean, that's probably why they were in place in the first place.
I know people are saying, how is it this same girl again? I'm going in order to show you what the voicemail inbox is like.
It seems to me like maybe the Muslims are using both the black people and the white people to gain leverage in society. I mean, if you had a Bible or something that said that women are of unequal intelligence, it kind of gives me the assumption that maybe those people might lack motivation.
All right. That goes a full 3 minutes, but we're going to just continue.
So I found an article from Dartmouth College on a professor who said that Obama is definitely a Muslim.
Alabama. Yes, exactly. What number do I call to leave a voicemail? Asks Alex Howell. The number is 219-2-David P.
Hey, David. I was watching the live stream today when we were talking about the indictment. And you played something from an old clip from an old show, and you played it in a faster speed. And I hate to tell you this, but you sounded a little bit like Ben Shapiro.
I heard that from a lot of different people, actually. From a lot of different people.
Hi, David. This is Crazy Nate from YouTube, a.k.a. Nathan Quimby from your website. And I'm just calling to tell you that about the.
Oh, they go on. They're just giving a ton of personal information, so we can't do that.
So I looked online about like influential Muslims and ones that like did something for society or, you know, had high IQ levels, and it seems like they're all leaders. Like their position is just to stand there and.
All right, that's enough. And I'll just do one more.
Hey, David, what's going on? I'm actually watching your stream, and I'm seeing the pain in your face from getting a ton of voicemails that are unusable. Luckily, I watched the show. I think I know how it works, so I'm going to wing it. Please don't roast me if it's unusable. Okay, I'm really trying my best. So Trump returning, right, and having this rally and having, you know, building up all these other little mini Trumpians all over the country, right, it got me thinking of, okay, well, clearly the Republican Party is going in a Trumpian way. When the presidential election comes around, though, I can't think of any, like, Trumpian people that have any chance of winning. It's not Trump himself for, like, the presidential election.
Actually, I think Ron DeSantis has a real shot. Something is really weird going on with my hair today. All right, so let's get away from that because I can tell people are getting a little bit distraught by it. I don't want to upset anybody. I do want to say thank you to a Danish joint, Radeboix, Vauxi, Kaklui, and Try Eye Gamer, all of whom just grabbed Twitch Prime subscriptions, putting us at 12 for the day. Very much appreciate it. The coupon code Indictment21 does work at joinpacman.com. All right, let's get right into unban requests. When you use Twitch and you get banned because you're extremely juvenile and presumably live a sad life that leads you to do things that get you banned, you can appeal that and request to be unbanned. I have 3 such requests to adjudicate today. The first is a user who goes by the name Christopher Canine, who said, please mercy ban me. This speech, this is the Trump speech, is worsening my mental health and depression. They were banned by request. And then they said, watching Trump worsens my bipolar depressive symptoms. Thank you for the mercy ban. I've had a few minutes to reflect and breathe, and I'm ready to rejoin the community. Very good. Unban, approved. All right. Number 2. Here is a user named BTY Fife, who came in and said, Weinstein stuff, 5 on the flight. You had to add that, David. Loves hot gas on his face. She would think he would throw in some Mr. Presidents besides Sir Weird Coincidence, sir. A lot of noise from your chat. Don't you love it too, Zionist? They were banned. I mean, it's just kind of more annoying than anything else. And then they said, I thought it was Zionist. It, I think, being me. So it's so unintelligible that that is a permaban. All right. And then another user who goes by the name Nick Streams showed up and said, what's the deal with mail-in voting? Sick Democrats. Yeah, LOL, yep, and all sorts of other just like 3-letter kind of guttural sounds. They were banned. Then they said, I don't even want to be unbanned. This is a soft-ass echo chamber. Democrats only. All right, well, that's just a permaban, I guess. And I'm not even a Democrat. Kind of all weird. Okay, so we've adjudicated the unban requests. I do want to say thank you to Harlan Nelson. Harlan just signed up on my website, joinpacman.com, using the coupon code BETTER21 and his new member number 13. There has never been a better day to become a member. There's never been a worse day either, to be totally transparent, but there's never been a better day. If we get to 100, phone lines are opening. I also want to say thank you to Mortar Stroller, ASF Klops, and Hanging from Gallows for the Twitch Prime subscriptions, putting us at 16. Okay, a couple of other super chats coming in. Do we have a name for the mumbling female caller? Somebody called her, there was something related. Whoops. It was like Haldol Holly or something like that. I don't remember. Jay-Z Gamer says, what are your thoughts about Texas Democrats fled Texas to escape being arrested and prevent the Republican Party from passing voter suppression bills? You know, honestly, I don't know the details of the story because I've been so tied up with other stuff the last few days. Pacman certainly isn't a true progressive. His anti-Bernie comments in 2016 still burn roughly. I voted for Bernie in 2016. What on earth are you talking about? I was a Bernie supporter. That's a really, I almost want a ban for stupidity. I mean, I'll leave it, but it's a little weird. All right. Other super chats. I found the Rogan link for you pretending you didn't know about Crowder's comedy show, but the link won't send in a super chat. Email info@davidpacman.com, link and time code, and I will get to it. I still haven't seen that in years, so I would love to check that out. Info@davidpacman.com. David, what are your thoughts on the DNC pushing for phone companies to police private messages to combat COVID misinformation? Love your show. Yeah, I would be against that. I haven't seen it, but if that's what's being described, I would be against it. I asked in a live stream for a David Pacman hat. 2 months later, you started to sell them. I expect a free one. Just kidding. All right, yeah. Hats, I think, are available. All right, very good. Let's get, I do have a few new drops here. I do have this.
Cephahide.
That's a good one. I've got Prump.
Then he went, Donald Trump, yeah, Donald Trump.
We've got that. And then we've got some plasma material. Whoops, that one's not valid.
Plasma.
Oh, some of these are invalid files. That's weird. But I have that. I guess I have just the one.
Plasma.
And I think that's basically it. I have it for new stuff. I do have this song that some people might like.
And then they did dumps. They call them dumps, big massive dumps. In Michigan and Pennsylvania. Big massive dumps.
Yeah. Okay. All right, that's enough. I think it might be, it's almost like too much. Okay, good. So we're standing by for Joe. Beautiful song. Yeah, I mean, it's right up there with Vivaldi. We're standing by for Joe Biden. He will very soon be addressing Republican voter suppression, and we're very excited to see that. We have volume here ready to go, so we will know when it gets started. I see someone saying, David, what are the valid coupon codes right now? Oh, my goodness. All right, so here's the membership website, which now I can pull up instantly. Let's look at what coupon codes we have that are working. So Better21, I know, is a code. That gets you $2.11 a month. All right, that's not bad. I know that Sad Trump is a code. That's $1.80 a month. Okay, Sad Trump's not bad. I know about Indictment 21. That's also $1.80 a month. What else did we have? Did we have Felony 21? Felony 21 is $2.10 a month. You know, for some reason, I remember a coupon code, Cucked No More. Let's see if it works. Huh, it's a valid coupon code, but it's full price. That's weird. I guess it's sort of like you're self-cucking if you use a coupon code and it doesn't even give you... Oh, no. It says invalid coupon. Oh, no, hold on. Okay. I guess that's not... Oh, was it forever cucked? No, I don't remember. No, that's not valid either. It seems the best code right now is Sad Trump. $1.80, yeah. Guys, the coupon codes are all working, as you can obviously tell. Okay? So that is that. Okay. Let's look at, some of these videos. So here's a woman who believes that Donald Trump is going to be president with JFK Jr. as his VP. Oh, wait, hold on. Well, this is like too big. All right, here we go.
Trump Kennedy 2021. What does that shirt mean?
I think that JFK Jr. is still alive.
The guy who died in the plane crash in the late 90s? You think he's still alive?
I do.
And he's going to come back and be president with Trump this year?
I hope so.
But how would Trump become president this year? There would be a new election?
There's a lot of things I think have happened, and there's some things I think I know, and a lot of things I don't.
Okay. And one thing you do know is John F.
She's aware there's a lot of things she doesn't know. That's good.
Kennedy Jr. is still alive?
That's what I believe.
Okay. Do you want to bet? Do you want to bet on it? I'll bet $100 that JFK Jr. doesn't come back from the dead.
Well, but she doesn't think he's dead.
But I don't think he's dead.
Right. She's not claiming resurrection.
Oh, okay. I'll bet $100 that he's not alive.
But I
you bet 100?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
Great.
Okay.
Sweet.
Okay. So there's that. Now, let me mention one thing about this. You know, there's people who will say that is merely mental illness. But here's the thing. The subject matter of the fixations and the delusions is related to what's going on in the news. But it's not like that person would be mentally healthy were it not for that particular belief. She would just believe something else. Like all the conspiracy stuff with vaccines right now. It's not like if there was no COVID and no COVID vaccine, all of the people who are like, oh, you're shedding virus and whatever. It's not like they'd be totally normal were it not for the fact that they have these vaccine beliefs. They would just be on something different. That's, I think, the important thing to remember. Here's some other stuff. Here's a woman, I think she pretends to faint. I'm not even sure if this is mask related, honestly. Let's see if we can even figure this out.
Oh God, no, excuse. Now you are, oh my God! Oh my God! Do you see this? Oh my God, I never thought nothing like this would happen to me. She just tried to run and hit me. And now did you see her? You saw her, right? They all saw her. Oh my God. Karen had a breakdown. She tried to hit me. Ask your workers. She tried to hit me. She tried to hit me. Now I want security for you. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Okay, so I think it was part 3. Oh yeah, here's the part where she gets down on the ground and starts vibrating.
You keep lying saying I'm threatening you, so I'm recording to protect myself.
Oh my God. Does anybody know what the conflict is even about?
Can you please stop recording?
Oh my God.
Now, crazy lady. Can she attack me and try to say I attacked her? Look at this.
I've never been around an adult who behaved like this. I only see children behave like this. Not once, and I've been at bars where people are out of their mind, drunk and stuff. Like, I've never seen anything like this.
Oh, y'all better get this lady. You're gonna look at this. Get security. Security. Look at this. Yes, can y'all get her away from me? Get her away.
As she chases the woman with the camera, she says, get her away from me. All right, so that's one. I thought that in part 3, here's where she pretends to faint. Now, I've fainted for real many times. It's called vasovagal syncope. This is not what fainting looks like. This is actually an interesting one. Let's see if we can get a better angle.
From her. Why don't she get away from me? She could get away. Go wherever you want to go. This is crazy.
It's a very slow fainting. There you go. Okay, so that's not what fainting looks like. All right. So there's that. And then this is a different one that was sent to me. This is apparently, so let's talk a little bit about the cruise industry. okay, as we wait for Joe Biden here. I have never been on a cruise because I tend to get seasick, and also norovirus runs rampant on cruises. And I hate being a captive audience of any kind. And anytime that they're, keeping you entertained because you can't go anywhere else, and you've got one place that's providing the food because you don't go, it's not my idea of fun. So I'm not a cruise guy, especially after coronavirus, during, which is where we are right now. The last thing I'm doing is going on a cruise, but apparently even now at this early stage of cruises resuming, people are doing it. And here's a woman who tested positive for the COVID. And so she's being brought off the ship, like, obviously. And it just doesn't go well. And it's like, here's another reason not to go on a cruise.
All I know is I can't breathe with this. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I think she's saying she can't breathe with the mask they're forcing her to wear because she has COVID.
They closed off the freaking floor in our room. Look at our luggage. It's wrapped in freaking plastic.
Is that a Staten Island accent I hear?
Well, at least it won't get dirty at the airport. One good thing, right? Look, they sanitize everything. As if we're really contagious. As if I really have COVID.
Well, you tested positive.
I had COVID 3 months ago. I have high positive antibodies.
COVID tests aren't antibody tests. She seems to be saying, no, I have antibodies because I'm so strongly recovered.
Took the tests at my doctor's office. High positive. Look, just.
I like how everyone around her is in a hazmat suit.
Look, there's an ambulance outside for us. Oh, wait, you're not putting me in no ambulance. You're not putting me in a car until Keith comes down here. If he's not down here, I'm not going in unless Keith comes down here. He's got to sign that paper, and I want a copy of it. Val, no, I said don't take me out there until Keith signs the paper. Don't roll me fucking back anymore. Then don't take me down here. I'll jump right off this wheelchair, and if I get hurt, you're gonna be doubly responsible. Put the brakes on right now.
The brakes.
Freaking moving. I'm gonna be in charge of my.
Imagine testing positive for COVID and being like, I just want to keep going with the cruise. Please take me away. Let's undock, unmoor, whatever it is. Starboard ahoy. No, obviously you're getting off. You have COVID.
No fucking life. I'm tired of Royal Caribbean telling me what I gotta do when you're fucking lying to us. They're fucking lying!
Now, what's funny, the message is don't cruise if you are not vaccinated because you're a target. Yeah, that's how the virus works. It's like she's had an epiphany. You're way more likely to test positive if you're not vaccinated. That's actually really good advice.
They're gonna make me have a heart attack. I'm gonna have a heart attack right now. I gotta stop.
Get Keith Murphy down here.
I feel dizzy.
Well, because you're screaming and you have COVID.
Get him down here.
I feel very dizzy. I'm gonna have a heart attack.
How dare he not even be here?
If I have a heart attack live on fucking Instagram, won't this be a story for the freaking press?
I think the story is get yourself vaccinated and don't go on cruises.
I can't.
Whoa. Okay. All right, things are starting. Joe Biden is here. All right, so Joe Biden very strongly coming in. Thanks to Green Man C. Brown, as well as, I guess that's it. All right. New Twitch subscribers, number 17 and 18. Also, big thank you to Quincy Herman for signing up with the code SADTRUMP. Deborah Murphy is a new member. Miles McKay is a new member. Patricia McCarthy, as well as Patricia McCarthy with 2 memberships. Very good. Can we get him on mic, please?
See an awful lot of good friends out there. Please have a seat if you have one. Let me begin by saying I used to be important. I used to be the chairman of the board of this place. And Jeffrey Rosen allowed me to do that for a while. But thank you all for being here. I truly appreciate it, Governor. It's above and beyond the call, Mr. Mayor. compliment you. I thought you were a great mayor. Still think you are, but your judgment and fiancés is even stronger. But all of you, and good friend Bobby Brady. I see so many friends out. Al Sharpton. Al, how are you, pal? It's great to see you. And I'm going to get in trouble here because I'm going to recognize my congresswoman from the state of Delaware, Lisa Blunt, Rochester, and her sister who used to run my office. Stand up. Well, folks, wow. Good afternoon. There's a serious subject I'd like to talk about today. I'm here in Philadelphia, the National Constitution Center, the city and the place where the story of we the people began. It's a story that's neither simple nor straightforward. That's because the story is the sum of our parts, and all those parts are fundamentally human. And being human is to be imperfect, driven by appetite and ambition, as much as by goodness and grace. But some things in America should be simple and straightforward.
Like voting.
Perhaps the most important of those things, the most fundamental of those things, is the right to vote. The right to vote freely. The right to vote freely, the right to vote fairly, the right to have your vote counted. The democratic threshold is liberty. With it, anything's possible. Without it, nothing. And for our democracy and the work and to deliver our work and our people, it's up to all of us to protect that right. This is a test of our time, what I'm here to talk about today. Just think about the past election. A 102-year-old woman in Arkansas who voted for the first time on the very spot she once picked cotton. A 94-year-old woman in Michigan who voted early and in person in her 72nd consecutive election. You know what she said? She said this election was, quote, the most important vote that we ever had. The daughter who voted in memory of her dad, who died of COVID-19, so others wouldn't have the experience of pain and darkness and loss that she was going through. The patients out there, and the parents. The parents who voted for school their children will learn in. Sons and daughters voted for the planet they're going to live on. Young people just turning 18, and everyone who for the first time in their lives thought they could truly make a difference. America, and Americans of every background voted. They voted for good jobs and higher wages. They voted for racial equity and justice. They voted to make health care a right, not a privilege. And the reason that Americans went to vote and the lengths they went to vote, to be able to vote this past election, were absolutely extraordinary.
Right.
In fact, the fact that so many election officials across the country made it easier and safer for them to be able to vote in the middle of a pandemic was remarkable. As a result, in 2020, more people voted in America than ever in the history of America in the middle of a once-in-a-century pandemic.
Wow.
All told, more than 150 Americans of every age, of every race, of every background exercised their right to vote. They voted early, they voted absentee, they voted in person, they voted by mail, they voted by drop box, and then they got their families and friends to go out and vote. Election officials, the entire electoral system, withstood unrelenting political attacks, physical threats, intimidation, and pressure. They did so with unyielding courage and faith in our democracy. With recount after recount after recount, court case after court case, the 2020 election was the most scrutinized election ever in American history. Challenge after challenge brought to local, state, and election officials, state legislatures, state and federal courts, even to the United States Supreme Court not once, but twice. More than 80 judges, including those appointed by my predecessor, heard the arguments. In every case, neither cause nor evidence was found to undermine the national achievement of administering the historic election in the face of such extraordinary challenges. Audits, recounts were conducted. In Arizona and Wisconsin, in Georgia, it was recounted 3 times. It's clear.
They found ballots with red miso paste on it, which was really suspicious because they were supposedly from a particular region that's more partial to the yellow miso.
Scrutiny and such high standards. The big lie is just that, a big lie. The 2020 election, it's not hyperbole, suggests the most examined and the fullest expression of the will of the people in the history of this nation. This should be celebrated, an example of America at its best. But instead, we continue to see an example of human nature at its worst, something darker and more sinister. In America, if you lose, you accept the results. You follow the Constitution. You try again. You don't call facts fake and then try to bring down the American experiment just because you're unhappy.
Right. No, it's also because they're idiots.
Statesmanship.
He's right. They're doing it because they're unhappy, bad people, and don't actually care about the country.
Selfishness. That's not democracy. It's a denial of the right to vote. It suppresses. It subjugates. The denial of full and free and fair elections is the most un-American thing than any of us can imagine. The most undemocratic, the most unpatriotic, yet sadly, not unprecedented. From denying enslaved people full citizenship until the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments after the Civil War, to denying women the right to vote until the 19th Amendment 100 years ago, to poll taxes and literacy tests and the Ku Klux Klan campaigns of violence and terror that lasted into the 50s and 60s, to the Supreme Court decision in 2013, and then again just 2 weeks ago, a decision that weakened the landmark Voting Rights Act, to the willful attacks, election attacks in 2020, and then to a whole other level of threat, the violence and the deadly insurrection on the Capitol on January 6th. I just got back from Europe, speaking to the G7 and the NATO. They wonder, not a joke, they wonder, Gov. They ask me, is it going to be okay? The citadel of democracy in the world, is it going to be okay? Time and again, we've weathered threats to the right to vote in free and fair elections. And each time we found a way to overcome. And that's what we must do today. Vice President Harris and I have spent our careers doing this work. And I've asked her to lead, to bring people together to protect the right to vote and our democracy. And it starts with continuing the fight to pass H.R. 1, the For the People Act.
Can you imagine?
That bill would help end voter suppression in the states, get dark money out of politics, give voice to the people at the grassroots level, create a fair district maps, and end partisan political gerrymandering. Last month, Republicans opposed even debating, even considering For the People's Act. Senate Democrats stood united to protect our democracy and the sanctity of the vote. We must pass the For the People Act. It's a national imperative. We must also fight for the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act to restore and expand.
Right.
Restore and expand voting protections, prevent voter suppression. All the congresswomen and men here, there's a bunch of you. You knew John, many of you. Just weeks ago, the Supreme Court yet again weakened the Voting Rights Act and upheld what Justice Kagan called, quote, a significant race-based disparity in voting opportunities. The court's decision, as harmful as it is, does not limit the Congress's ability to repair the damage done. That's the important point. It puts the burden back on Congress to restore the Voting Rights Act.
This is all great, guys, but it's like, you know, when other countries look at us and we're debating voting as opposed to doing stuff, you know, it's insane that this even is a debate in this country.
That will be an important moment. And the world is wondering. The world is wondering. And Dwight knows what I'm talking about. For real. You know, the world is wondering, what is America going to do? But we also have to be clear-eyed.
Yeah.
About the obstruction we face.
Here we go.
Legislation is one tool, but not the only tool. And it's not the only measure of our obligation to defend democracy today. For example, Attorney General Merrick Garland announced that the United States Department of Justice is going to be using its authorities to challenge the onslaught of state laws undermining voting rights in old and new ways. The focus...
Again, it's like, that's great, you've got to do it. But imagine if instead they could be doing other things that are more productive because you didn't have half the country fighting people's ability to vote.
Georgia's vicious anti-voting law. The Department of Justice will do so with a voting rights division that my request is doubling its size and enforcement staff. Civil rights groups and other organizations have announced their plans to stay vigilant and challenge these odious laws in the courts. In Texas, for example, Republican-led state legislature wants to allow partisan poll watchers to intimidate voters and imperil and impartial poll workers. They want voters to dive further and be able to be in a position where they wonder who's watching them and intimidating them, to wait longer to vote, to drive a hell of a long way to get to vote. They want to make it so hard and inconvenient that they hope people don't vote at all. That's what this is about. This year alone, 17 states have enacted, not just proposed, but enacted,
right,
28 new laws to make it harder for Americans to vote.
Which we've covered.
Not to mention, and catch this, nearly 400 additional bills Republican members of the state legislatures are trying to pass. The 21st century Jim Crow assault is real. It's unrelenting. And we're going to challenge it vigorously.
Yes.
While this broad assault against voting rights is not unprecedented, it's taking on a new and literally pernicious forms.
Particularly gross.
It's just about who gets to vote.
That's a bunch of malarkey.
Easier for eligible voters to vote. It's about who gets to count the vote. Who gets to count whether or not your vote counted at all. It's about moving from independent election administrators who work for the people to polarized state legislatures and partisan actors who work for political parties. To me, this is simple. This is election subversion. It's the most dangerous threat to voting and the integrity of free and fair elections in our history. Never before have they decided who gets to count. Count. What votes count.
Right.
Some state legislators want to make it harder for you to vote. And if you vote, they want to be able to tell you your vote doesn't count. for any reason they make up. They want the ability to reject the final count and ignore the will of the people if their preferred candidate loses. And they're trying, not only targeting people of color, they're targeting voters of all races and backgrounds. It's with a simple target. Who did not vote for them? That's the target. It's unconscionable. I mean, really, it's hard to declare just how critical this is. It's simply unconscionable. We've got to shore up our election system and address the threats to election subversion, not just from abroad, which I spent time with Putin talking about,
Right.
but from home. From home. We must ask those who represent us at the federal, state, and local levels, will you deny the will of the people? Will you ignore their voices? We have to ask, are you on the side of truth or lies, fact or fiction, justice or injustice, democracy or autocracy? That's what it's coming down to. Which brings me perhaps the most important thing we have to do. We have to forge a coalition of Americans of every background and political party. The advocates, the students, the faith leaders, the labor leaders, the business executives, and raise the urgency of this moment. Because as much as people know they're screwing around with the election process, I don't think that most people think this is about who gets to count what vote counts. Literally, not figuratively. You vote for certain electors to vote for somebody for president. State legislature comes along under their proposal, and they say, no, we don't like those electors. We're going to appoint other electors. We're going to vote for the other guy or other woman. Because here's the deal. In 2020, democracy was put to a test. First by the pandemic, then by a desperate attempt to deny the reality and the results of the election.
Yeah, we got a C on that test. We passed, but barely.
By violent and deadly insurrection on the Capitol, the citadel of our democracy. I've been around a long time in public life. I thought I've seen it all, or most of it all. But I never thought I'd see that for real. And in spite of what you see on television, and you saw it, you have senators saying it was just a day at the Capitol. Just people visiting the Capitol. Folks, but we met the test. Because of the extraordinary courage of election officials, many of them Republicans, our court system, and those brave Capitol police officers, because of them, democracy held. Look how close it came. I mean, for real, how close
Barely.
it came.
Right.
We're going to face another test in 2022, a new wave of unprecedented voter suppression and raw and sustained election subversion. We have to prepare now. As I've said time and again, no matter what, you can never stop the American people from voting. They will decide. And the power must always be with the people. That's why, just like we did in 2020, we have to prepare for 2022. We'll engage in an all-out effort to educate voters about the changing laws.
It's going to be ugly.
Register them to vote, and then get the vote out.
Come on, man.
We'll encourage people to run for office themselves at every level. We'll be asking my Republican friends in Congress and states and cities and counties to stand up for God's sake and help prevent this concerted effort to undermine our elections and the sacred right to vote.
Please.
Give me a break. Have you no shame? Whether it's stopping foreign interference in our elections or the spread of disinformation from within, we have to work together. Vice President Harris and I will be making it clear that there's real peril in making raw power, rather than the idea of liberty, the centerpiece of the common life. Founders understood this. The women of Seneca Falls understood this. The brave, heroic foot soldiers of the Civil Rights Movement understood this. So must we. This isn't about Democrats or Republicans. It's literally about who we are as Americans. It's that basic. It's about the kind of country we want today the kind of country we want for our children and grandchildren tomorrow. And quite frankly, the whole world is watching. Folks, that's a bunch of malarkey. I'm not being sentimental. I'm not preaching to you. I'm just giving it to you straight, as I promised I would always do. Lay things out on the line and honor your trust with trust. So hear me clearly. There's an unfolding assault taking place in America today, an attempt to suppress and subvert the right to vote and fair and free elections. An assault on democracy, an assault on liberty, an assault on who we are as Americans. For make no mistake, bullies and merchants of fear, peddlers of lies, are threatening the very foundation of our country. It gives me no pleasure to say this. I never thought in my entire career I'd ever have to say it. But I swore an oath to you, to God, to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution.
Whoa.
And that's an oath that forms a sacred trust to defend America against all threats, both foreign and domestic. The assault on free and fair elections is just such a threat, literally. I've said it before. We're facing the most significant test of our democracy since the Civil War. That's not hyperbole. Since the Civil War. The Confederates, back then, never breached the Capitol, as insurrectionists did on January the 6th. I'm not saying this to alarm you. I'm saying this because you should be alarmed.
Yes.
I'm also saying this. There's good news. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be, for real. We have the means. We just need the will. The will to save and strengthen our democracy. We did in 2020. The battle for the soul of America, in that battle, the people voted. Democracy prevailed. Our Constitution held. We have to do it again. My fellow Americans, it requires fair-mindedness, devotion to justice. Corny as it sounds, love of country. Requires us to unite in common purpose and declares, here and now, we the people will never give up. We will not give in. We will overcome. We will do it together. From guaranteeing the right to vote, ensuring every vote is counted, has always been the most patriotic thing we can do. Just remember, our late friend John Lewis said, freedom is not a state, it's an act. Freedom is not a state, it's an act. And we must act and we will act. For our cause is just, our vision is clear, and our hearts are full. For we the people, for our democracy, for America itself, we must act. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops and all those who stand to watch over our democracy. But act. We've got to act. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. So Joe Biden with a powerful end to his speech. Whoa. Going directly at really everyone on the right who has been making a mockery of the election system. And now the question is, will anything be done? This is all crazy what's happening. Various dignitaries and guests in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Joe Biden seemingly completely swallowed up by the crowd. This guy looks like Matt Whitaker right here. Kind of interesting. Hopefully it's not Matt Whitaker, because it looks like that guy may be part of Secret Service. And I would not want Matt Whitaker anywhere near Joe Biden. A maskless vaccinated crowd, presumably. Okay. All right, so some questions came in via Super Chat during this. What's more important, Joe, the right to vote or upholding the filibuster? Yeah, it's a fair question. It's a fair question. Biden to Republicans, have you no shame? No, they don't. That's the problem. David, the sound bites make me literally cackle out loud in the middle of what would otherwise be a serious speech. I absolutely love them. Dumps. David, what do you think of the PBS NewsHour being a reliable source? I never watch it. Do you watch it yourself? I never watch it. Why do you suppose right-wing media don't go after PBS NewsHour? I don't know. I'm not saying it's unreliable. I just don't really watch news shows at all. I just have so much to kind of stay up on that consuming news via audio-visual means is just too slow. I prefer to read. Will you be covering how Texas Republican congressmen are attempting to arrest Democratic lawmakers protesting the voter suppression bill? Yes. Yes, I absolutely will tomorrow. David, did you hear Jenna Ellis is leaving the Republican Party? I did. And that's on today's show, actually. That's on today's show. And in fact, we've got to go finish getting today's show out. All right. So thank you to everybody for joining me. It's been truly an incredible and an historic day. And we will all be back with everything really, really soon.
If you're thinking about joining the David Pakman Show, he's got a lot of content, don't you know? Search a subject, but don't forget to add his name at the end of the subject. He'll hit you with some facts, empirical at that. And once or twice a week, he'll mention about his gardens.
Pretty good garden, yeah, but it's not for everyone.
You should also know that there is